Okay, I want you to imagine a sport that has the nonstop action of basketball, the toughness of water polo, and shots that are as fast as an ice hockey slap shot. Well, that sport actually exists, and chances are you've probably never seen it. So today, we're going to crack open the super high energy world of handball. But first, let me ask you something. When you think about fast team sports, what pops into your head? Hockey, right? Maybe lacrosse. Well, what would you guess is the second fastest team sport in the entire world? The answer is probably not what you think, and honestly, it's the key to understanding everything we're about to talk about. If you guessed handball, you are absolutely right. This game is incredibly dynamic, and it has this really cool history that's kind of born from a mix of ideas across Northern Europe. To really get a feel for it, we've got to go back to where it all started. So the earliest version, a game they called Handball, first showed up in Denmark way back in the late 1800s. But the modern game we see today, the one with 7 players on each side played indoors, that was really perfected in Germany in the early 20th century. From there, it just exploded across Europe, and eventually it made it to the biggest stage of them all, the Olympics. The men's tournament got in back in 1972, and the women's followed just 4 years later. Okay, so we know where it came from, but what makes the game itself, well, tick? What are the rules that create this incredibly fast, compelling game? Let's head down to the court and break down how it's actually played. First things first, let's talk about time. A match is a full-on 60-minute battle. It's split into 2 really intense 30-minute halves. Now, if you're a soccer fan, that setup probably sounds familiar. It demands insane stamina, and it makes sure the pace is just relentless from start to finish, with only a short break in the middle to catch your breath. And all this action happens in a pretty compact space. The court is 40 meters long and 20 meters wide. For those of us thinking in feet, that's about 131 by 66 feet. So it's just a little bit bigger than a standard basketball court, and that's on purpose. The smaller size forces constant explosive action. There's literally nowhere to hide, so every single player is always involved either in a lightning-fast attack or a desperate defense. And this is where handball gets really unique. So players out on the court can only use their hands, but the goalie has a superpower. Inside their semicircular goal area, they can use any part of their body to stop a shot. This creates the most iconic, most spectacular play in the sport, the jump shot. An attacker will literally launch themselves through the air, flying into that forbidden zone to get a clear look at the goal. But here's the catch. They have to let go of the ball before their feet hit the ground. It's just this incredible display of timing, power, and pure athleticism. That raw athleticism is really the heart of what makes handball so amazing to watch. It's the stuff that makes you lean forward in your seat. It's this crazy mix of blinding speed, jaw-dropping power, and, believe it or not, a little bit of sand. Hey, remember that question from the beginning? Here's your answer. The only team sport on the entire planet that is officially faster than handball is ice hockey. That's it. That compact court we talked about, and the rule that you can only take 3 steps with the ball, it all comes together to create this frantic, end-to-end pace where the game can flip from defense to offense in just a few seconds. And it's not just the players who are moving fast. The ball is basically a projectile. A shot from a pro player can rocket towards the net at over 100 kilometers an hour. That's 62 miles per hour. Think about that from the goalie's perspective. It's not just about saving a goal. It's about having the guts to stand in front of a missile with only milliseconds to react. But just when you think you've got a handle on how intense the indoor game is, you find out it has this cooler, flashier cousin. That's right. They took this ridiculously fast sport and they moved it to the beach. Beach handball has its own whole vibe. It's played barefoot, and the rules actually reward you for being creative. These acrobatic plays like 360-degree spin shots or alley-oops, they aren't just for showing off. They're worth double the points. It's as much a high-flying performance as it is a competitive game. All right, so from the sand, let's go back to the polished court of the world stage. Because it's really important to remember that at its core, handball is a fiercely competitive global sport with a huge, passionate fan base, especially all across Europe. And over the years, a few nations have basically built dynasties. You've got countries like Denmark, one of the places the sport was born, and then you have these absolute giants like France and Norway. These are the perennial powerhouses. They have strong pro leagues and a really deep cultural connection to the game, and they're always producing the world's best teams. And what really solidifies its global status is this. Handball has been a fixture at the Summer Olympics since the 1970s. So we're not talking about some fringe activity here. This is a premier international event where national pride is on the line, and that just proves its legitimacy and its appeal on the world's biggest stage. So you've got blistering speed, brilliant strategy, and these breathtaking aerial acrobatics, all wrapped up in a really rich history. Handball has literally every ingredient you'd want in a sport. It's a game of nonstop action and incredible skill, which really just leaves one question. After all that, are you ready to give your new favorite sport a try?